Some of you probably noticed that there's no brake booster, no master up front. We ended up doing the same thing as the Navigator and getting one of those brackets to turn that sucker sideways and put it inside the cab behind the dash. So you can actually access the master through the glove compartment and fill your fluid up there when it comes time to bleed the brakes or do any servicing on this. So you can barely see it. Left the panel off to kind of give you a heads up of where, or show you guys where it's at. So an aftermarket brake switch was added to get rid of the many wired stock setup. These things can definitely be a pain in the ass. There's so many wires in these vehicles that you end up kind of having to swap out some stuff, and you have to have a good electrician to be able to do that stuff. And my boy Peter has been a lifesaver when it comes to stuff like that. And you know, I know suspension, but electrical is on a whole nother page, and just being able to know how to dissect and test and figure that stuff out. So putting back this interior, obviously that whole thing had to come out in over 2.5 years. It takes a hell of a memory and skill just to know where everything goes, what bolts to use on what. And I mean, you can mark everything, you can make notes, but it comes down time to put it together. That long after it's been taken apart, it can definitely be a puzzle. So my right-hand man, Tony Aserio, he's the guy that, you know, pulls this motor out, knows the motors front and back, and all the brake lines on this thing. A ton of wiring. Some of the fab work he definitely did. So I can't be thankful enough that I have him here to help me get through these projects. You know, he's taken apart the Navi on the rebuild that we did last year and put that sucker back together while I was handling other stuff in the shop, because we all know working on your own project don't make you any money. So definitely proud of him and what he does for our shop. So let's check out the back here. Got some massive tubs for these 30-inch wheels. All hand built from flat sheet metal. And then we actually took a 2-inch round pipe and bent it to the arc of the wheels. So we had a nice rounded edge to it. Just kind of a unique rounded edge. It's just real subtle going around. AccuAir, kind of a unique rounded edge to it. You know, that it's just wild as hell. Once I open this thing, front and back, it just drives people to this thing to check it out. We got 2 Optima batteries wired together back here that the compressors love. Nice and healthy, a lot of power for them. There's no battery up front. We moved up both of them back here, and I kind of keep it compact and out of the way of that front whole situation we got going on. This gas door, I've been saving this sucker for so many years. It's actually off of the Navigator, stock Navigator gas door that flips up, got a nice little, has a nice indent off of the stock shape. And bam, gas door is right there, and the fuel filler with a little insert that I made that kind of just cleans it all up. It's not just a big hole in the bed. Gotta give a shout out to Bailey Industrial as well, that their sheet metal brake is how I got the magnetic 48-inch sheet metal brake, and that's what gave me all these bends. And it's kind of a unique center hump. The suspension goes right up into that. Built the upper wishbone to wrap underneath the floor and give them as much space as I could, because they have a blow-through stereo that's going to go in the back here. So that's a hole that they previously cut for an old setup. We just got duct tape on there so we don't die when we're driving it, and it cuts a lot of the muffler or the exhaust noise and fumes out. So. Freaking wild, man. It's been 2.5 years, just about 3 years. Definitely had some setbacks. Just building this thing on 30's, had to wait for 28's to come in. So that's just why these things take forever to build. There's so many one-off parts. We take pride as hell in building this and putting these out. You know, who knows what the next one's gonna be. We have 2 wild ones leaving here in the next couple days, really, between that C10 and this Harley. So as you can tell by the last 3 videos, I went over a ton of stuff on this build, but there's always a couple things that are overlooked and just forget about them in the build. So I'm gonna introduce you to Chopper over here and let him break down a couple other things that I missed.
Alright, so some of the other stuff that was done, kept the ABS, factory ABS system, moved the brake booster and master cylinder to underneath the dash, transverse mounted. Got some fittings that are welded into the firewall that allow you just for a clean separation if you got to pull things apart to service anything. All the brake lines come out of the firewall and some welded in bulkhead fittings. So along with keeping the factory ABS fully functional, might add, narrowed the rear end. In the process of that, we made a call to Dutchman axles, got a fresh set of axles for it. Best place around. You guys gotta call them if you ever need them. We converted the returnless factory fuel system to a return style system. It's now got an inline fuel pump, an inline regulator. Allows us to control everything that way. It's got a 15-gallon fuel cell. A set of factory 2-wheel drive spindles, some aftermarket drop spindles, and cut somewhere around 3-4 inches of the height of them off, and then threaded the spindle for the uniball up on the top mount. One-off upper control arms that were done in-house by Mr. Garrett. Drivetrain in this has been picked up 3.5 inches front to rear. We've got a 2-piece drive shaft in there that allowed us to be minimally invasive in the trans tunnel and still get this thing to lay all the way out. Steering system is a custom piece of a 99 Mustang setup that's been modified and adjusted the sinister way to make it work, clear for 30's. All the factory electrical is still in the truck, intact. We didn't have to hack anything up.
And I definitely can't forget about this piece that I made about a week ago that no one has out there. And I might have to do like a series of these. When I get a little time, we'll see about that. But that's an all-metal lower piece that just flows with that bumper. The original one was plastic, and being a body drop, you'll see in the next video when I lay this thing out that plastic just don't work. We had cut the plastic piece and got that one laying on the ground, but man, that thing was flimsy as hell, and it was just a POS. So went through and made a sheet metal version of it, which definitely took some time, but was well worth it in the end. I left it clear coated, just sprayed some clear coat on it so it wouldn't rust, but I know the customers are going to paint that black and it's just going to disappear with the rest of the body. So it's definitely a fun piece, a unique piece to make, and man, it's about I'd say an 1/8 inch off the ground when the sucker's down. So thanks for watching, guys. have another video coming for you soon of the Harley F150 just mobbing down the streets. This thing is just a head turner, to say the least. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.